Hi, in this video we're going to look at factoring polynomials. And we're going to consider two problems from tomorrow's lab, and we'll get insights as to how to solve those problems in this video here. So the first polynomial we're going to look at is x cubed minus 7x plus 6 equals 0. And to factor it, we need to figure out x plus or minus some number a. We need to find the a times x plus or minus some number b times x plus or minus some number c. And factoring is unlocking what the actual a, b, and c values are. Take a look at this polynomial, pause it, and see if you have any insights, not as to what all the three values are, but at least as to what one of the three might be. So pause the video, and then we'll trade. Okay, so my attention is focused on the 6. That 6 has to come from a times b times c. It's this term times this term, that's times this term. That's the only term that has no x. So a times b times c must equal 6. And there are only a few ways we can have it coming out to 6. One choice would be 1 times 2 times 3. Another choice would be 1 times 6. They're both equal to 6. And that tells us that a must be plus or minus 1, because they share the 1 in both scenarios. And so unlocking the pattern tomorrow of factoring x cubed minus 7x plus 6 is that we know it has to be of this form. And typically when you have that first insight on factoring of polynomials, it's like a puzzle, and it unlocks the whole thing. So we'll look at that tomorrow. The next one we're going to look at in this video is x cubed minus 19x plus 30 equals 0. And so again, we'll look at that 30. 30, its prime factors are 2 times 3 times 5. And we also note that the x squared term is equal to 0. There's no x squared term in this expression. So see what you can do with knowing what the prime factors are and that the x squared term is 0 to see what insights you can get from that. So pause the video, see what you can come up with. Okay, so this is what I came up with. We're going to look at that x squared term. And we know that it's going to have to be, well, we don't know, but we know that possible factors are 2, 3, and 5. And I'm very interested in 2, 3, and 5 because 2 plus 3 equals 5. And let me show you why I'm very interested in that. X with a 2 term, we don't know what the sign is, x with a 3 term, and then x with a 5 term. We know then we're going to have a 2 times a 3 times a 5. We'll get the 30 that we need up here. And now let's look at that x squared term. So we could have, from the first group, the x and the 2, we're going to pick the x first time. From the second set, the x and the 3, we'll pick an x again. That way we're going to have a x squared term. And that means that the third number will have to be not an x, but the 5. So we choose this guy first, this guy third. That's one term. Or we could consider the scenario where we take an x from the first box. From the second box, we choose the 3. And then from the final box, we choose an x again. Again, we're going to have an x squared term. And then the last way we can do it is that in the first grouping, we're going to choose the 2. From the second grouping, we're going to choose the x. Oops. And in the third grouping, we have to choose an x again. So these are the 3 different ways I can get x squared terms, and we know this term has to be 0, and the way I can do that is if I take a plus 5 here, a minus 3 here, and a minus 2 here, when you sum those all up, that's going to be 0. And that's the trick that will unlock the factoring of this polynomial tomorrow. So, factoring polynomials is making observations and having faith that things will be nice. And we'll look at the factoring of these two polynomials and a couple more tomorrow.